When the Galactic Council first acknowledged the human race, they were not regarded with much significance. Fundamental endurance against both high and low temperatures, along with a satisfactory balance of power and weight. Their achievement was somewhat noteworthy, as they were among the rare non-apex predator species to attain sentience, let alone reach the space age. Nevertheless, stating that they were viewed as a group devoid of any semblance of honor, the demise of even a single leader would ignite a prolonged conflict over succession, lasting for years. In some ways, they are definitely not the most terrible beings in the galaxy, yet they are quite distant from being the finest. The Taraxi were the pioneering galactic race to contemplate taking advantage of human vulnerabilities. And so they bided their time, anticipated the unavoidable ignition that would plunge all of humanity into chaos and conflict. 27 years after receiving acknowledgement from the Council that ignited the long-awaited Taraxi, it erupted into a consuming blaze that enveloped the entire human race. The visuals that emerged from the initial week of turmoil continue to linger in my mind. I can't comprehend how a group can inflict such destruction upon its own members. There was an absence of empathy, a lack of integrity, merely the chilling arithmetic of destruction. As the human conflict approached its final chapters, the Taraxi made their move. Countless Taraxi forces and warships surged into areas under human control. One by one, their worlds crumbled, and in the countless numbers, humanity perished. The remainder of the galaxy averted its gaze. The people stood at the edge of destruction, and none wished to be involved in such a fate. Some even assisted during the Taraxi invasion by supplying provisions and weaponry in exchange for seized human territory. The end of humanity was upon us. Yet rather than disappearing awkwardly into oblivion, the humans undertook an action that defied understanding. They came together. Years of resentment and animus vanished in just a matter of weeks. Individuals who, just a short while ago, vowed to bring harm to one another now embraced each other as kin. The previously relentless Taraxi advance came to a standstill. After seizing nearly 73% of human territory in 6 weeks, they have now struggled to advance even a light year after 8 months of conflict. The Taraxi has undertaken a perilous endeavor. A shared adversary had been bestowed upon humanity. 2 years into the Taraxi-human conflict, the unimaginable began to unfold. The Taraxi found themselves retreating. The Taraxi media asserted that it was a calculated action aimed at inflicting significant human losses. That could very well be the case. The individuals may have been expending vast quantities of resources to reclaim authority over their lands. Yet, after its recovery, it was never reclaimed. A colleague of mine explained that the humans would, as they put it, just get to work. A wild idea to just occupy reclaimed land and wait for the Taraxi to approach them. And arrive they did. The Taraxi relentlessly assaulted the human lines time and time again. Just when it seemed the humans were satisfied with the territory they had reclaimed, they initiated large-scale counteroffensives that compelled the Taraxi into yet another chaotic retreat. An utterly outrageous strategy, and yet it proved to be a remarkably effective approach to conflict. The Taraxi would not concede at that time, and likely never will, that they were facing defeat. 6 years have elapsed since the onset of what has become the most significant conflict in half a millennium of galactic chronicles. The Council believed that the humans would stop their aggression once all territories taken from them were returned to their control. The Council, naturally, had misjudged the situation. The humans not only failed to cease hostilities after reclaiming their territory, but it also seemed they were intent on eliminating any threat to their existence. Nothing beyond that, the humans craved blood.
They sought retribution for the human blood staining Taraxi's hands, and nothing would deter them. In an absurd turn of events, the Taraxi found themselves battling for their very survival. The Council, gripped by urgency, summoned an immediate peace discussion between the humans and the Taraxi. To everyone's astonishment, the humans reached an agreement, leading to the establishment of the first ceasefire since the war began. Taraxi, humanity, and the 9 races of the Council convened for discussions aimed at establishing peace. The negotiations aimed at achieving harmony proceeded smoothly. The individuals astonished once more. They maintained their composure and communicated with logic and empathy to the Council races. Nevertheless, they resolutely declined to interact with the Taraxi. Reflecting on it now, it could have been an indication of what was ahead. In that moment, I found it reasonable. Being involved in the diplomatic mission, I held onto the belief that a resolution to the conflict was within reach. That was until the matter of reimbursement was raised by the Taraxi, asserting their entitlement as the conquered party to seek equal financial compensation for any of their territories still under human control at the time of the treaty's signing. The whole gathering of humanity became hushed as the Taraxi envoy began to address the matter. At long last, after a period of silence, one of the individuals in their group found the courage to voice their thoughts. "I hope this is just a playful jest to mark the beginning of peace." The representative from Chennai expressed their thoughts. "Absolutely not. It is their prerogative to request that, and it is your obligation to adhere. Failing to do so is merely—" The representative for Chennai took a brief pause. Unfathomable. The gathering of individuals grew quiet once more. The leader of the Human Party rose and declared with composure, "You will receive our answer within the hour." In silence, he exited the room, with the whole group of humans trailing behind him, equally mute. The Council, satisfied with the results of the discussions, collectively breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the individuals were prepared to withdraw. Thus, we remained in anticipation for the humans to reply with a gesture of goodwill. At the precise second on the hour, the Council received a communication from a human, specifically from the human leader, lasting for several seconds. All I could perceive on the display was the individual as he sat there, fixated on us with an odd expression, silent and still, merely observing. "Curse these human feelings," the representative from Chennai abruptly declared. "It's so incredibly difficult to decipher." Device recognized sentiment. The machine emitted a sound to signal the conclusion of its examination. Feeling recognized. Minimally restrained beam. The human leader suddenly interjected, cutting through the electronic hum of the machine. "Esteemed members of the Council," he cast a smile towards the Taraxi representative. "Esteemed member of the Taraxi, I must convey my disappointment in stating that we are unable to agree to the current terms for peace." In a fleeting moment, silence enveloped the room for the first time since the commencement of the peace discussions. Continuing to smile at the Taraxi member. "Nonetheless, we are open to finding a middle ground." A soldier from Taraxi suddenly burst into the room. "Sir, the vessels of humanity are in motion." The video display split into 2 sections. One side depicted the human leader, while the other illustrated the Taraxi homeworld encircled by the full might of the human armada. The Taraxi member sputtered and pivoted to address the human leader. "Excuse me? In what way? When was this accomplished?" The human leader maintained a steady smile. Suddenly, the fleet unleashed a barrage of fire. In mere moments, millennia of Taraxi heritage was reduced to ashes. Countless lives extinguished before they had the chance to grasp the terror that awaited them. One of the most remarkable empires in the galaxy had vanished entirely. Not a soul stirred. Silence enveloped the room. Even the Taraxi's sorrow was mute. The human leader raised their voice once more. "As you can observe, we have chosen to reach an agreement. 16 billion of my fellow beings have perished since the onset of this struggle." All eyes were fixed in disbelief on the human leader, grappling with the overwhelming tragedy of the loss of life. "I believe that exchanging 10 billion innocent Taraxi for 16 billion innocent humans represents a reasonable agreement." Even I could sense the bitterness and disdain woven into the word compromise as the human leader pressed on. "As a collective, we are now receptive to any discussions aimed at achieving harmony." "Are you out of your mind?" thundered the representative from Chennai. You have just initiated hostilities against the entire Galactic Council. Tranquility? This is the furthest distance from tranquility that any entity can reach. There will be no tranquility until your despicable kind is erased from the very recollections of my descendants. The human leader directed his calm, beaming expression towards the member from Chennai. Excellent. The human leader ceased his efforts to suppress the fury emanating from his gaze. I was anticipating that response. 2 weeks have gone by since the conclusion of the Taraxi-human war. There existed neither a peace agreement, nor a capitulation, nor a halt to hostilities. One side had completely lost its people. It has been a lengthy fortnight since the Galactic Council announced hostilities against the humans. For Council races have withdrawn from the Council. All of them shamed by the Council's early failure to act and prevent the tragic loss of life during the initial phases of the Taraxi-human war. The 4 races that chose to break away unanimously decided to halt the Taraxi's advances when they initially expressed curiosity about the humans, all coerced into silence by the Chennai. It's unimaginable that 4 factions have withdrawn from the Council. However, this marks the first occasion in 570 years that the Council finds itself in conflict, and never before has it been at odds with its own members since its inception. In just 34 years, humanity has dismantled countless generations of tradition, collaboration, and comprehension. Hey there, mate. My new companion beamed at me, pulling me out of my reverie. He was mindlessly grooming his nails with a shiny, lethal instrument. You're not reconsidering your decision about me, are you? I smiled in return. Absolutely not, my friend. This marks the first occasion in almost 6 centuries that the Anorak have engaged in battle. I turned to my companion beside me, and my smile widened. Indeed, my dear companion, quite the opposite. It has been an excessively lengthy period. This will be enjoyable. His smile erupted into a full-bodied laugh. Just hang in there, and I'll reveal the secrets to preparing the ideal steak. I tilted my head in disapproval at him. Humans utterly bewildering.